Hey y'all, my name is Jessica. In my first video, I'm going to be discussing gender and the negative impacts that society has instilled in us, its members, to continuously negate and perpetuate these quote-unquote norms through the generations. First things first though, we need to understand and comprehend the definition of the word gender. Karen Martin wrote an amazing article piece discussing gender. Within the piece, she discusses that there are many definitions encircling gender and that they have arisen in and through society. Postmodern feminism, for example, explains and defines gender as a performance. Microsociological works suggest that gender is something that is, quote unquote, almost as if it is done, like a physical action or an activity that someone partakes in. Both the postmodern feminism and the microsociological definition personify and embody specific, managed, adorned, fashioned, properly comported, and moving bodies. This is what constitutes gender and its respective gendered relations. Karen Martin further explores the creation of gender to encompass the fact that gender is not only an action or an activity, it becomes the person. The person makes and creates their own individual and personal definition of gender. These are personalized and, most importantly, extremely unique. They do what they want to do to make themselves happy. Before moving forward, though, I feel as if it is important to clarify some confusion that some might have. Some of you might be wondering why the definition of gender and the explanation of gender did not mention biological sex. That's easy. Sex refers to the biological distinction of male or female. You know, the XX or the XY chromosomes we were all taught about in 9th grade biology class. Gender does not classify or consider its definition into a category based on sex. Doesn't define it in a category of male or female. The worst part about categories is that all of us create them. It's easier for our minds to comprehend things as a bigger picture than a million smaller ones. Categories surround every aspect of our existence, and because they're categories, they're also labels, none of which help our personal or emotional or physical development. It just stigmatizes us even further. Okay, so off of that and back onto gender. The unfortunate part is that society and history have created definitions of gender based on biological sex. Certain characteristics are stigmatized and personified as strictly female gender traits. Some of these traits represent physical appearance that exemplifies body physique, length of hair, blemish-free skin, longer hair, a timid personality, able to have children. Other traits have been stigmatized and personified as strictly male gender traits. Some of these include being emotionless, strong-willed, physically fit, extremely muscular, able to defend oneself or the property that you own. It could also mean that they are financially capable of taking care of people more than just themselves. When these two paths cross, the female gender traits and the male gender traits, we come across the term androgynous. The androgynous gender is an embodiment of masculine and feminine traits utilized in and through one person. Traits are not looked at as belonging specifically to one gender or the other, but have equal gender trait love. They don't care the length of their hair or the size of their clothing or the color of their clothing. They do what makes them feel good, what makes them feel amazing. Unfortunately, society can't comprehend or understand this difference because it's outside the realm of categorization. This is harder to comprehend and accept. There are plenty of examples, but I am going to utilize only a few to make sure that my information is making sense, or at least attempting to make sense. Let's just say that there's an individual with short hair, baggy clothes, wearing a baseball cap. You might automatically be assuming I'm talking about a male. Wrong. I was referencing a female who embodies physical male traits. Let's try this. Someone's wearing pink. It's tighter clothing, long hair. Yep, wrong again. It doesn't mean it's a girl. In fact, I was talking about a boy. Like I mentioned before, there are specific character traits that are embodied by either female or male gender categories, and these categories are what makes you automatically think and label either a male or female. We have all seen the individuals who we've had to do a double take on because we're not sure what gender they identify with. But why? Why do we have to know which gender someone identifies with? Why is it important that the person standing next to us be automatically categorized in our brains, labeled in our heads as a specific gender? Why are there preconceived definitions and expectations of gender, let alone the category of female and male gender? Historically speaking, the idea of femininity has embodied the physique that has curves, long hair, kept physical appearance, has the nasty notion that she, for some god-forsaken reason, needs to be rescued by her dashingly handsome one and only Prince Charming. Of course, he whisks her off to the land of happily ever after. The idea of masculinity from historical standpoints embodies a muscular man who is capable of defeating all in his path, able to provide for his damsel in distress, stoic and emotionless, strong-willed. Let's be realistic. Please, for once, let's be realistic. Society plays into and creates these expectations through the music that's created, through the movies that are watched and filmed, through the commercials that play on every television channel, the literatures that everyone reads, the children's books that we give our children, that we give our nieces and nephews and maybe our grandbabies, the art that is created, the toys that are made by toy manufacturers, the clothes, the types of clothes, the colors of the clothing, the fabric, the jobs that we hold in society. The list could literally go on and on forever, but they are also what stigmatizes and creates these gender classifications. And it's depressing, it's saddening, it's heart-wrenching, it's heartbreaking. Individual definitions of gender aren't acceptable to society. Even the creation of androgyny is met with hesitation and resistance. We tell everyone, even when they're little, we tell them to be unique and create individual definitions of happiness. But guess what? Those creations have to fit into a category and a place that has to be built and is continuously monitored by society and its stigmatizations. Hey everyone, be unique with society's definition and creation of uniqueness. There's almost no point to being unique if you are not able to express it or enjoy it without members of society looking down their nose at you. These gender expectations do not only encompass male and female, they go so far as to invade social class because of the implications that certain societies are not capable or willing to be active participants in society. People that live below the poverty line, the within and lower means than other people. There's also the notion that the ethnicity creates a gender stigmatization because there are implications that ethnicity embodies gender norms that are not socially approved. Like an African American woman automatically being tied to the gender stigmatization that she is on welfare or that she's incapable of a higher education. There's also the gender norm that religion and the religious affiliations that someone belongs to are gender and stigmatized because they're not identical to what society deems as normal or as typical. It raises concerns because it's unfamiliar. Gender And everything that we've discussed, it circles right back to the exact same topic, gender, and the creation of it being solely based on the physical and external qualities. These are manifested and created within a split second, a first glance, maybe just even staring at somebody or looking at somebody. But these are certainly not created because we've taken the time to engage with the person, or even taken a second to ask them a question or to truly get to know them. We have to categorize them. We have to apply a gender to them in order to even be willing to understand them, to be willing to meet them, to communicate with them, to further get to know them. And unfortunately, society will continue to tighten its grasp on how and what is acceptable for female gender, for male gender, for androgynous gender, until we put our feet down, not just one foot, because that's not strong enough. We need to say no more. We are unique and deserve the opportunities to express it however we feel necessary, individually feel empowered by our own gender, our own creativity, our own uniqueness. We have to break down the barriers for ourselves, for our future generations, so that they can grow up in the comfort of their own skin, with their own unique definitions of individualized gender, and the tenacity to stand up to society and say absolutely no more. I am who I am, with or without your categories, without your definitions, without your explanations. I am my own me and my own unique individual, and I don't even need the label or the category of gender. I hope you enjoyed this short presentation, and I hope I was able to clarify maybe a little bit, maybe a lot, maybe expand upon, maybe help you to create or possibly gain the willingness or the excitement to start to create and define your own sense of self outside of the realm of gender and the category of gender. And I hope I was able to possibly open up your eyes to how gender and society coexist within this world, but how they also need to be individually created with your own personal definition. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.